Today's story is about an aging, wealthy man who spent much of his life alone, until one day, a young woman entered his world and brought with her a sense of hope he had long forgotten. Her name is Nelly, a woman weighed down by a life of struggle. Her husband, Jerome, has been unemployed for years, leaving her to bear all the responsibilities. She's taken on many unpleasant jobs just to survive and now works at a publishing house. Before heading out one morning, she reminds Jerome that the rent still hasn't been paid, and if they don't act soon, they might end up on the street. But Jerome, apathetic and used to these pressures, rolls over and goes back to sleep. Forced to face reality alone, Nelly meets her best friend Paula and confides in her about how hard it is to carry all the burden. She's given up hope that Jerome will ever change. While they talk, a man named Peter joins them, a man Nelly has seen before but never spoken to. As they chat, Peter quickly understands Nelly's financial situation and offers to help. At first, she declines. He may seem kind, but she barely knows him. However, at Paula's gentle urging, she finally accepts. Paula later reveals that Peter is actually a millionaire with several businesses, but he lives a lonely life. His daughter, who lives in America, is distant, and even during his relationship with Paula, there was never anything physical. It was simply a companionship built on emotional support. Nelly finds it strange. How could someone live so alone for so long? But what she doesn't know yet is that soon, she may face the same kind of solitude. Nelly continues juggling her part-time job at a local bakery just to earn a little money. That evening, she returns home and tells Jerome that a friend of Paula's helped her with some rent. Jerome reacts with suspicion. How could she accept help from a stranger? But Nelly firmly tells him that Peter isn't just anyone. In a moment of raw honesty, she admits she can't keep living in poverty with no future. She dreams of something better, and for that, she needs change. She tells Jerome she'll be moving out. Though Jerome tries to stop her, his empty promises feel like a stalled engine, no longer capable of moving forward. The next day, Nelly meets Peter, who gives her a check to ease her financial troubles. She insists she'll repay him as soon as she can, but Peter gently tells her not to worry. If she ever needs more help, she shouldn't hesitate to ask. Their conversation flows easily, and a genuine friendship begins to take shape. Nelly tells him about her past job in publishing, which sparks an idea in Peter. He's been wanting to write a memoir and needs someone to help him tell his story. Nelly agrees, and Peter assures her she'll be paid for her work. It's not charity, but a collaboration. As things start to improve in Nelly's life, she moves in with Paula, though she hasn't divorced Jerome yet. Paula is happy to see Nelly finally finding direction and peace. Before Nelly starts her new role, Paula fills her in on more details about Peter, his past, his family, and his solitude. The next day, Nelly visits Peter's grand home and enters his library, now her workspace. Peter arrives and begins recounting his life, revealing he was once a judge and owned factories that eventually shut down. He starts to open up to Nelly, wanting to feel connected, but she remains focused on her work until a housemaid interrupts, saying Peter's wife, Alice, wants to speak to him. At once, Peter's mood changes. It's clear he doesn't like talking to her, and Nelly begins to sense the hidden pain behind his silence. As time passed, Nelly's life began to stabilize. She started earning a bit more. She went back to collect the last of her belongings and finally said goodbye to Jerome, for good. Moving into her own apartment, she embraced the solitude. For the first time, she was living completely alone, and that's exactly what she had wanted: independence. One day, a man named John visited Peter. He worked for a publishing company and had come to help sell Peter's book. When Nelly met him, she was surprised. It turned out he was an old colleague. Meanwhile, Peter had decided to sell his entire library. He wanted to leave his current life behind and move somewhere quieter, maybe with someone he cherished, perhaps even Nelly. While Peter quietly hoped for something deeper, Nelly remained focused on her own journey. She wasn't ready to open up or share her past. Peter, despite his growing feelings, didn't push her. One evening, an unfamiliar man showed up at the door, giving Nelly a strange look before heading into a room with Peter. Nelly overheard them arguing, but didn't pay much attention. She stayed busy with her writing. Eventually, half of the manuscript was ready. She took it to a printer named Vincent, who was immediately impressed and agreed to publish it. They exchanged numbers to stay in touch. Later, when Nelly returned home, she found Peter's daughter visiting. She was initially surprised to see Nelly there, but warmed up once Peter explained everything. Though upset about him selling his beloved books, she later thanked Nelly. She admitted that her father seemed healthier and happier since Nelly entered his life. With that, she quietly left, reassured. Peter once shared that while he often saw his daughter, he hardly ever met his son who lived in America. The boy stayed with his mother, who, for reasons Peter didn't fully understand, kept him away. Hearing this, Nelly began to feel a quiet sadness for him. She thought about what Peter's daughter had said, that her father seemed happier lately, and Nelly started spending more time with him, perhaps out of compassion, or maybe a growing bond she couldn't explain. But things were about to shift. One evening, Peter received a call from Vincent, the man helping with the book. He asked if Nelly was there, and Peter handed the phone to her. Vincent was inviting her out for dinner, and she said yes. Peter tried to remain calm, but it clearly unsettled him. Maybe he felt his place in her life was uncertain, or perhaps he was just reminded of their age gap. Either way, he stayed silent. That night, Nelly and Vincent met at a cozy cafe. Their conversation flowed easily, and it was clear they were warming up to each other. Vincent said she looked familiar, and Nelly reminded him that she used to work at a bakery. Perhaps he'd seen her there. As the evening ended, he thanked her for the company and walked her home. The next day, while Nelly was working, Peter showed up. He began asking subtle questions about the dinner, clearly bothered. Nelly could sense the jealousy, even though Peter didn't say much. Later that evening, they went out for dinner together. In a quiet moment, Nelly opened up. She admitted her life had been far from perfect, an early marriage that didn't last, and years spent feeling lost. But meeting Peter changed something in her. He had given her a job, support, even when she felt undeserving. As they sat together, people around them whispered and judged, thinking she was only there for the money, taking care of an old man. But Nelly didn't care. She was at peace with their connection. What she didn't realize was that Peter had started seeing her as something far more than just a friend. After leaving Peter's place, Nelly goes to Vincent's home, where a new chapter quietly begins between them. Meanwhile, Peter's world starts to darken once again. The next morning, as Nelly prepares to leave, Vincent tells her he's looking for a stable job for her, something long-term she can rely on once she finishes working on the book. Later, when she visits Peter, he informs her he's made a few changes to the manuscript. Nelly has no objections and agrees to move forward with it. Just then, she receives a call from her mother. Jerome is in the hospital. Without hesitation, Nelly rushes to see him and learns he accidentally took sleeping pills while drunk. Her mother hints it may have been a suicide attempt, but it turns out she exaggerated. Soon, Jerome's girlfriend arrives, a kind woman who actually helped him land a decent job. On the way back, Nelly can't help but feel regret for walking away from Jerome, who now seems genuinely changed. But Vincent gently reminds her that she deserves to move forward as well. Inspired by his words, Nelly refocuses on completing Peter's book. However, Peter becomes increasingly agitated. He senses Nelly is hiding things and feels creatively stuck, lacking new inspiration for his writing. Every day, he questions her, but she remains distant about her personal life. One day, Peter loses control and lashes out at her. In response, Nelly firmly reminds him that she's there to do a job, not to bare her soul. Her words cut deep, leaving Peter heartbroken. She announces she won't be returning for a while. Once again, Peter finds himself alone, right where he began. But on the brighter side, Vincent secures a new design job for Nelly, and on her very first day, she impresses her boss with her work. Meanwhile, Peter goes to meet Paula and tells her about Nelly leaving the job. Seeing Peter so troubled for the first time, Paula realizes how much Nelly's presence had changed his life. One day, at Peter's home, the same mysterious man Nelly had met earlier arrives, while Peter is away. He leaves a note for Nelly, sharing that Peter's life has improved because of her. Hearing this, Nelly feels happy and continues her work with renewed hope. That evening, Nelly takes Vincent to a party where many of his friends are gathered. There, she also meets Paula, who is visibly upset. Nelly tries to cheer her up and make sure she enjoys the party. During the event, Nelly notices Vincent and Peter talking. Vincent admits he wants to move forward with his life alongside Nelly and plans to propose to her soon. Hearing this, Peter feels a little sad but keeps quiet. The next day, the mysterious man returns to Peter's house. Nelly starts asking Peter questions about him. Unlike Nelly's curiosity, Peter calmly explains that the man's name is Dolabella, who was once his lawyer. However, due to a mistake, Dola was caught up in fraud cases and ended up in jail. Peter clarifies that Dola wasn't truly at fault, and ever since then, he visits Peter once a month to ask for some financial help, which Peter quietly offers without complaint. This was something Peter had never shared with anyone before, showing how much he trusts Nelly. That night, Nelly meets Vincent again, and he proposes to her. But Nelly's response breaks his heart. She says she wants to take things as they are and doesn't want to get married or be tied down. Vincent feels he can't continue like this, and so Nelly ends their relationship. When she returns home, she shares everything with Peter, admitting that since her first marriage ended, she's been afraid to trust or commit to anyone. Peter listens silently, unsure of what to say or how to help. That night, Nelly decides to stay at Peter's house. When Peter gently approaches her and touches her, she doesn't pull away, but it's unclear whether she felt peace or sadness. They were alone, and the silence between them carried emotions that words couldn't express. The next day, Peter learns that his ex-wife, Lucy, is returning. The man she had been living with has passed away. Peter spends the entire night working on his book, unsure whether to feel joy or sorrow. When Lucy finally arrives, they speak after years, and in that moment, Peter chooses to finally take that journey he once dreamed of, a trip he had long postponed. Meanwhile, Nelly heads to court for her official separation from Jerome. Though the court grants them 2 more months, both of them already know their paths have truly diverged. After court, she goes to see Peter before meeting Vincent. She finds out Peter is leaving the city for a few years, hoping to reconnect with his son. Though they don't say it aloud, the sadness between them is heavy. Peter hugs her tightly and softly says, "This home is yours while I'm gone. Finish the book here." He places the house keys in her hand, a quiet gesture of trust and farewell. As she heads toward Vincent, Peter boards his journey. Yet his expression reveals the truth. This isn't the journey he once imagined. He's leaving, but not with the person he had hoped to travel alongside. On the other hand, Nelly seems ready to begin again, with someone who had always waited. Sometimes, the words we don't say become the heaviest. Had Peter told Nelly how he truly felt, maybe things would have turned out differently. Even if she had refused, at least he would have been free from regret. So if you care about someone, tell them, even once. So friends, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the bell icon so you never miss any upcoming video. See you in the next one. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe,